Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Why can't I get it to? Oh, that's crazy. Okay, there we go. Oh, I still count down. Sister Circle. What?
Oh my God, this is hilarious. This post you posted, Wyntis,
You
is
put this stuff
hilarious.
up on the screen, please. Comments and stuff. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I cannot see who is on, but welcome to Sister Circle. We're not late, Mickey. We're on time.
Mickey has already jumped off the plane. I can see from this side who's on: Miss Francine Johnson, Jessica Stewart, Nancy Adams, Mama Quill. That's what I can see so far. Miss J, Mike Cal Smith, better known as Ann. Yes. I'm still trying to share. Miss Tia, Miss Tia. Okay, okay, darling. Okay, we see you. That's all okay. I think I read them all so far.
You can see the YouTube side because I can't.
Yes. And Mickey just stepped out, so we can't get him to put them up on the screen. But he'll be back in a second.
And as you can see, the lovely Rose Morrow is in the house.
Hello, everyone.
That's the background noise.
That's a cheerleaders.
Right. Not just Rose Morrow, Miss Rose Morrow, candidate for the First Ward City of Flint Councilman seat. Right? Y'all don't look happy. Y'all not
Yes.
excited tonight.
We are excited. It's
I know.
Friday.
Anna ain't. Anna, wait a minute.
Okay, okay. I'll start off. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why my spirit is a little off.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that tonight is not a happy time because God is
Okay.
good. This
All the
weekend is real personal to me.
Okay.
My grandmother passed away August 1st, 1997. So every August 1st, some of us can get over stuff, but I still can't. I'm named after her. So August 1st, it messes with me. I stay away and I ask God to just meditate on his word and to keep myself up. But August 4th is when my mother passed away. So this weekend, to have a grandmother who I'm named after, who was like a mother to me, August 1st, and then my mom to August 4th, kind of like my it is what it is. My mother passed away 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's not an easy thing. And if you have a mother, to anyone out here whose mother is still living, love on your mother, talk to her every day. Even if she gets on your last nerve, the word of God says, honor thy father and thy mother. Thank them for bringing you here through
Right.
God, but love on them. Because when they leave, and for me, I know where my mother is. You miss them. So that's why I'm a little off. Nothing, it is what it is. It comes with life when you start getting into this age group. Some people younger, but when you start getting into your 40s and 50s, a lot of people around us start to leave. So let's love on each other while we're still breathing.
Amen. Amen. That's definitely true. Oh, well, you definitely have my prayers, and, I'm sending you a hug all the way to the DMV. I'm your sister anytime you need me.
It is hard. It is hard when you lose a family member, especially one like a parent or a grandparent.
And so I've never walked those shoes. Lord knows, if you to live is, one day you eventually you're gonna have to walk that walk, And I'm dreading the day, but still my prayers are with you. I couldn't imagine. So, but let's talk about a little something that's
Yeah,
uplifting.
no, we're gonna change. We're gonna keep it going because my mother was a giver. My mother was a person of community.
Mhm.
And we got two lovely women in the room that are about community, especially Rose Morrow. So, Rose Morrow, tell
We
us
got
what you're
three.
doing.
Three.
Three.
No, but it's me talking. That's why I'm saying two
Oh, okay.
besides me. So three of us. But
Three.
Rose Morrow, just the things I've been seeing. I'm here in DC, looking from DC as ideas. I'm even doing a community cleanup on the 17th.
Mhm.
I got a permit. I got all kind of people coming to it, even famous people in my community. I live in a community of Hanover, which is very famous for the famous Tony Lewis and the famous Rayful Inman, and y'all know who that is in DC history. So my neighborhood has always been famous for what we call negative things, but that doesn't mean that the people that are here now that legacy have changed it around. And Tony Lewis has done a lot. After he got out of prison, he is really big on community and giving back. And I'm happy to actually be less than a block away from him. He is my neighbor. Even in my neighborhood, our at-large council member is my neighbor. So I have a lot of people in my community that really are involved. And to be able to knock on a door and they come out and speak to me, they're not all about hiding behind doors. And DC politics is big.
Right. So, it's DC.
Mm-hmm.
It's DC. You guys got a lot going on there. So, we ready? We ready to just dive off tonight?
Yep.
Let's see. Yep.
You can let Rose talk about what she did this week.
Yeah, what you do this week, Miss Rose?
Let's see, we did a cleanup project on Russell Street, and thank you to Holy Redeemer Church in Burton. The volunteers, the adults, and the youth came out and helped me clean up Russell Street. It was hot, but we did get a portion of it done. So I'm grateful for that, and they will be coming back working with me. Other than that, just walking door to door, campaigning, and working on the lot. And then I've been assisting some individuals that are in need of assistance with their home and some other issues. Okay. So that's basically taking my whole week.
Okay. Did you ever get the signs up in Maurice's?
Yes, okay. I did right after.
Okay.
I went up there and seen some trash, and I said, "Well, I'm here." I had my picker.
Picking up trash over there.
I took it out. There's no garbage cans. So
I know.
I just took all the trash.
What is she out there doing?
No, I was grateful that he allowed me to do that. And then when I walked up, I'm like, they got an event here this weekend. So I said, okay, well, I got my picker in a garbage bag and went around, picked up the garbage. Then looked at the flower pot, pulled up a couple weeds. Like, man, I wish I had some extra flowers. I'll come over here and
Maurice, that was her out there picking up your garbage and stuff.
No, I was grateful. So I put them up right by the stage like he told me to. Please don't mess with my signs tonight.
Lord have mercy. We should have said where you was going. Yeah. I got one. I'll take with me tomorrow just in case and put it up there on our tripod. But you got to come to the event tomorrow.
Oh, I am going to be there.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Oh, no, I will be there the whole time.
Oh, right.
I've been waiting for this concert.
Okay. Ana, we having a blues concert with the King, Maurice Davis, girl.
Yes.
The former councilman, Maurice Davis, that's the blues singer. You know, he like Batman and Robin, girl.
And the setting is so beautiful. Everybody going to bring their beach chairs.
Yeah.
Just sit out there and enjoy the music. I'm waiting. I've been calling people, telling them, hey, let's meet up in a group.
You're going to see the steppers and all of that. Oh, it's going to be
I can't wait.
A nice event. And then they have, they have Northwestern's tailgate is tomorrow too.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's another big event.
And there's a number of events going on. There's a church on Center Road, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the church. They have a health thing going on, and I believe they're going to serve food and stuff for the people. And then there's another one. I was just at another place, and another lady was telling me there's one off of Prospect. They're going to have a pop-up or something, I believe, tomorrow too. She didn't give me the side street. It was pouring down. But there's a lot of events going on tomorrow.
Okay.
So but I really wanted to go to Mr. Maurice Davis concert, so I'm going to that.
I'm glad you come to the concert. I'll be looking for you, girl.
Yeah, I will be there. I'm going to go early to get my spot.
What you say?
Y'all are going to beat me up too, what I got to tell y'all.
What happened?
I'm not going to be able to make it to 8.
Are you serious? Oh, I was looking for you to come next week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you all these things that I'm signing. But really, it's like, we're put on this earth to do community. I mean, some of us, not everyone is community, but I mean, most of us were put on this earth to give back, not to always receive, but to give back. And just to go back in my neighborhood about the importance of my neighborhood, the first park in DC, the park in which I'm having to clean up is because everywhere in the city, they have fixed all the parks, but the First park you see when you come into DC, which is off of New York Avenue, is the playground right in my neighborhood. That's a it's oh it's terrible. If I show you the flyer, the things that need to be fixed. But it was the park where it was called White and Colored Park, and the reason why it was called White and Colored Park is it was the first park when they blacks and whites went and played together in DC history.
Okay.
So we're bringing the attention to say, hey, you can't leave this park behind. This park has, if you could have these houses in my neighborhood, 1.2 million and up to buy, then our park should look like that.
Right.
Same thing with our rec center. And so this is a way of, we're going to clean it up, but just showing the city, like, if you could put this down the street, you could do it over here. And in my area, it's called 5E, and I call it the Tale of Two Cities. And so one side of the city, where I did live on First and V at one point, let's just say that area has everything. But when you cross over to where I'm at, it's very gentrified. It has changed, but there's a lot of places that need love. And so the same thing with Ward 1.
It's like,
If you about community, you need to fix the area. And the way you fix the area is that you preserve the history. And what Rose Morrow did over there in Ward 1 by putting that, not just her, I know she worked with other, but I say Rose Morrow because that's the only one that brought it to our attention. She worked on getting that sign up there. And that sign is recognition of Eric Mays. And you have to preserve the people that were in that neighborhood and did what they did before our history is erased.
There was a lot of individuals that came out this week just to help me. And there was an elderly gentleman that lived down the street. I was doing something wrong as far as the sidewalk, not cutting it right. But he didn't realize I can't take my right foot and step down like a normal person. I was doing it with my hands.
Oh, okay.
But he actually, I said, no, it's too hot. He started trying to help me break up the grass from the sidewalk. But I told him, no, it's too hot. You got to stop. No, we're not going to do this anymore.
Because what day was that we were out there? Monday? Was it Monday?
Let me see. You were on 18. I believe it was.
I think it was Monday. We came out there when you planted all the flowers around there.
And they've been coming back all week. There's people going up there when I'm not up there now helping me.
Oh,
they asked me, was it okay? I said, I want everybody to join in. But even not just there, other places. When I was on Russell Street the other day, it was hot. Thursday, it was hot. And the neighbors came out, who were sitting on their porch. They came down telling us not to go in certain spots for certain reasons, up in the bushes and the trees. But they came out and they were like, thank you. There's a block where there's one lady, one elderly lady. And she came over and said, do you mind if I just hang out with you guys? And I'm like, sure, but stand over here in the shade or let me go get the plastic chair for you.
Right.
She just wanted to sit with us. There's nobody on her block.
Nobody?
Nobody. There's no houses. There's houses, but they're abandoned houses that need to be torn down. They're open.
It's a lot of blocks like that in the first ward.
But we're getting around. We're actually getting around. There's some other ones that are coming up. So we're going to continue to work. We have to do it, of course, when it's not rainy. But when that rain goes away, the mosquitoes come out. But it's cooler. So, but no, I like that people are getting involved. And like I keep explaining to everybody, if we don't have to like each other, just respect each other, we can get along. I mean, I can work, even if I had personal feelings about a personal individual, if it concerns the residents or not even just the residents, just getting a job done that needs to be done, is no different from at work. We're all going to work with people that we don't get along with.
Absolutely.
But the job still needs to be done. And going back to law enforcement background, there's people we don't like or don't, I just ask, I'll give you respect. You just respect me. I'm going to give you respect.
Right.
We got to work together because in law enforcement, you got to have each other's back. If somebody, if just because I don't like you, if I see somebody fighting you, do you actually think I'm going to stand there and not help you restrain that person? So we got to work together. And I kind of take that mentality with the city. There's individuals that I've seen do some things, and I'm sitting like, hey, but thing about me, I try and pull the individual aside. I'm not going to put them on blast in front of somebody. But I try and explain to people, hey, we don't have to like each other, but let's work together to get this done. It's sort of like this first ward thing, this election. when this election is over, we're all going to go back to our own lives.
Right.
But the thing about it is, the citizens still need help, no matter who wins, because in the end, in November, only one person's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
But when people create so much animosity, for whatever reason, not even involving this election, people don't want to work with each other. Everybody's being divided, and that's not good. We're already in a situation in a crisis. We need to get out of that crisis.
Right.
So hopefully everybody will start working together.
Well, sometimes, the division be a distraction.
Right, right.
And you have to
Sometimes you got to step away.
Right.
Sometimes, I mean, hey, you can, a person has a limit. You could, and people try and bring people together. You could try, but all you could do is try. But everybody's an adult. It comes a time where you say, hey, I got to step back from this because
Right.
this is getting out of hand and people aren't listening. So sometimes, like you said, we just got to step back and regroup and keep going.
Right.
You might have to, hey, if there's an obstacle in the road, sometimes we
Mhm.
just got to go around and keep going.
That's true.
So
That's true.
that's what we got to do because we got to get this stuff done. And my thing is, I keep looking at it like this. It may sound a little strange, but winter's coming. We
Mhm.
need to accomplish everything we can while the weather's nice. So by the time it starts to get cold outside, a lot of people don't want to come outside.
Mhm.
I don't want to come outside, but I'm getting used to the snow again. I have neuropathy,
Mhm.
but we got to get it done. So I'm trying to get everything. And my main focus right now, all these houses with these blue tarps, people are worried.
Right.
So we got to figure out to get some money for these people for their roofs. And for the two main priorities, the roofs and the furnaces. A guy almost had me in tears yesterday. There's a elderly lady, and I got to meet with her again in the morning. Try and talk to her in the morning. She had her gas cut off and her water was cut off.
Mhm.
The house needs a lot of work. Her son, she lives in the house, but it's her son's house, but her son won't help her.
Mm.
So it bothered me because I'm like, this is one of these situations where if you were rich or if you could, you can't take everybody in your home, but you got to try and help her some kind of way.
Right.
And I was up most of the night because I'm sitting there like, how can I help her? Nobody wants to help her because it's not her house.
Right.
And I kind of understand, but she needs a home.
Mhm.
So now, to be honest, I'm to the point I'm going around trying to find a home that's because she does get her husband's pension. And if I have to go help move her and scrape up money for a U-Haul truck, don't think I won't do it.
Yes, I think I remember you telling me you did that for somebody already,
Yeah,
didn't you? Yep.
there was some situations when it was domestic violence, and with domestic violence, even though people can put a personal protection order on a person, that's not, they don't always work. So sometimes you got to say, hey, cut your ties. It's not worth it. You got to leave, or you and your kids got to leave. And if you don't care about yourself, care about your kids.
That's right.
Safety comes first.
Absolutely.
So I don't have a problem with having a quick yard sale, borrowing some money, pay it back later or something. If I have to try and move her, but that's the only thing I can think of to find her another house.
Mhm.
So if there's any landlord that's out there that lives in the city of Flint that has a home, it's just her, but she receives her husband's pension, and I might be able to I'm planning on trying to take her down to the Department of Social Service to see any help I can get, but I got to find a home for her. So if you have one or know someone, please call me.
See, she always doing stuff like this, Anna.
I'm sorry. I know I went off over
I'm just saying, like, you always helping the people. That's what she always do.
I hear you, Rose. I was a victim of domestic violence, and I'm real transparent about that. And it was because the person I was married to didn't understand that hitting is not the way you talk. He wasn't raised to think. He thought that was normal. Of course, I forgive. He's the father of my daughter, but I knew that I had to get myself out of the situation. But God is good because when you learn and you remove yourself from a situation like that, I have always made it my business to reach back out to women that are still dealing with this because it's not an easy thing. I done buried friends from domestic violence. So the thing is it's really when they're ready to leave, and that's where the conversation gets deep. But anytime we can help as feeding the children, trying to get them into housing, supportive housing, keep doing that. And you don't even have to even know about domestic violence. it's a cycle of mental health that can keep you trapped in a house because you don't think you can move on or you don't think you can survive. And so for the women to get out of it, I don't tell them to hate their husbands or hate their boyfriends. I tell them, I congratulate them that they made a mature decision for their children,
Yes.
and
Or
let them
themselves.
deal with what they're going with.
And that peace of mind, once they get away and they get that peace of mind, that means more than anything. A material thing can be replaced, but your life can't. Your kid's life can't. And sometimes, and I've done this before, I'll bring up cases. I used to have a notebook and I would carry it with me because I showed them cases where people didn't make it. You don't want to be in that situation. You don't want to lose your life over material things. Or there were some women that had low self-esteem that felt they couldn't get a job. And this was the one I was telling you about, Wyntis. She didn't have a job. Her husband worked. He paid all the bills. She didn't have a support system.
Mm.
So when we showed her, the officers showed her that she had a support system. We are going to help you. This is wrong. And you have 3 kids. She let us help her. So sometimes people don't have a support system. And what am I going to do? We just have to help. Everybody got to help each other. That's kind of like went out of the way. My grandmother used to take everybody in and help people. But we got to help. We got to learn to more help our neighbors. Every neighbor you cannot help. You're going to have a bad apple in every root.
Mm-hmm.
But reach out. Say, hey, you need somebody to talk to. If you see something going on. And if you hear somebody screaming and yelling, please call 911. The response time is getting a little better. Just try and help. Or there was a situation recently where I'm not a police officer anymore, but I seen something that shouldn't have been taking place. And I just stopped and just yelled, leave that baby alone.
Mm.
And then I went over later. I knew her father. And I just didn't like what I seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I said no. And just letting her know. And I'm not gonna say I said a few more things to her. It was nothing inappropriate. I just told her that's a child. You don't hit on a child like that. What's wrong with you? And she was like, where did you come from? I said, I've been standing there watching you. When I turned and seen what you were doing, no, you don't hit a child like that. And I went and talked to her father, and she was like, well, no, there's no excuse. That's not an adult. And I went and talked to her father, and the father was trying to tell me, oh, the child did it. No, you don't do that. Because the next call, if I ever see something like that again, I said, you better go talk to your daughter. Because if I ever see something like that again, guess what? We're going to have to take it a step further next time. But that was the first time I ever seen that. I only seen the one part, you don't hit a child like that. But sometimes when you let a person know that you've seen it, oh, it will stop. But my only thing in the back of my head, I can't go home with that child. I don't know what's going on in that house. But you got to speak up.
But Rose, with Councilwoman Rose Morrow, the first Ward one.
There you go.
Speaking into existence. Speaking
into existence. No, thank you everyone in the chat for the love. But I would say this, Rose, with the way the government is doing right there in Flint, depriving the people are becoming bitter in their own homes. And so when you have lack of help, support, you got killing, crime is up, the mayor's lying, even the governor's lying on Flint, pollution of water, lead. And you think of all those things, what happens in the household? Anger.
Change.
Mm-hmm.
People have PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
My mother used to tell me, if he hit you, knock his ass out. Excuse me. That don't work. I used to go toe to toe with him. That does not work. And I learned the only way I go toe to toe with him is to remove myself out that house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll fight. But I learned that my life is worth more than trying to change someone who wasn't raised correctly with dealing with women.
And when a person's not adult, you really can't change them. Some women and men get in relationships and they'll say, oh, he'll change. Or, let's go back to domestic violence. Oh, he'll change. He was upset. I shouldn't have did this. I shouldn't have said this. I knew he was mad when he got home. those are what we call excuses. We can't do that. How many times did did he have a violent temper before the relationship? When you were dating them, the individual, female or male, did they display some of these things? You just got to be careful because you don't want to be spending the rest of your life with someone that's going to be beating you and belittling you. I had a girlfriend once. She was sitting there. Her boyfriend would always, if they go out to eat, he would eat 2 and 3 plates at the all you eat places. She would be on her same plate. She wouldn't even have a lot on her plate. And he would look at her and say, "You're going to eat all of that?"
Mm.
But you sit here, and I remember him getting mad at me, and he really didn't care for me because we were sitting at the restaurant and I got kicked up onto the table because you sit here and said that to her, and you have been to that buffet and had 3 full plates, saying stuff. "Oh, look like you're gaining weight." She said, "Well, I got to exercise." Why? You never want to go exercise. You're the perfect size. What are you talking about? He said, "I've been gaining weight." Look at him. He's overweight. That's the reason why he's getting on you. He wants you to gain weight too. He's trying to put you down because, for example, that old saying, and I don't know if you guys have heard this before, when a woman goes and dress up because she just want to look nice, put on a little makeup, she going out to the grocery store, whatever. She don't want to go out in her house shoes and her bathrobe or just an old t-shirt, some sweatpants. She just want to look nice. So she dresses up. "Oh, who you going to meet? Oh, you were going too long at the grocery store."
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever heard stuff like that?
Yeah.
And she's like, "He's always accusing me of stuff." And I said, Grandma used to tell me when a man's always accusing you of stuff, he's really doing something. And then one of my friends, my old neighbor, her husband was in the military. Whenever the phone rang, he would go outside and be walking, no matter what time of the day and night it was. He would be walking up and down the street just talking on his phone. I swear that man was never in his house.
Really?
When it was raining, he wasn't out there. We did a test. Me and my ex did a test because he was military. He was like, "Nah, shorty, he cheating on her." And then I said, "Why would you say that?" He said, "He didn't come out and say it, but some things he said, that man cheating on her." He said, "I've been in the military forever." He said, "And I've never cheated on you." But he said him going outside all the time, because I had said it. I said, "Who is he speaking to?" It's not like he's a lawyer or certain phone calls have to be confidential and you can't say anything. Or does he keep his phone locked and near him? If you look like you're about to touch his phone, he would go berserk. And she was telling me some of this stuff. And then she said, now he's always putting me down. This woman lost so much weight, but she had health issues. And the medicine made her gain weight. And so it was steroids that she had, because she had hurt herself. She was in the military too. And she was like, and she had 3 kids by him. And then she had 3 kids, and the last one made her really gain weight. But he was always outside. And then finally, one day, she was out there, and I guess she came up behind him, and he went ballistic. I heard him yelling. I was sitting on the porch. I mean, she's flinched like I thought he was going to hit her too. And one of them situations where I'd be yelling, "Hey!"
There go Miss Rose running down the street again.
If you hit her. No, I was sitting on my porch. But the way he turned around, it wasn't like he turned around. Like all she did was tap him. And she barely tapped him. But he turned around with that phone. It was more guilt from that phone. And come to find out, they wind up getting a divorce because he was cheating on her. He met this woman, and she looked just like her. Oh. And he wind up, they're engaged. They were engaged.
That's crazy.
So you just got to be careful who you get in a relationship with. My thing is, I used to
take the time to date and get to know somebody.
Yeah. I used to have this joke. It was like a little printout we made, and I would pass it to family members and friends. How does he treat his mom? Does he respect his mom? If he has children, is he taking care of his children? If he's paying child support, or if he's not working and he's not able to pay child support, is he going to get the kids to spend time with the kids? Look at that kind of stuff. How you're going to have a baby or kids by a man that's not taking care of his own kids, or a man that don't respect women. You know, that's why we had that little check sheet. How was his did he have a criminal background? Everybody, now see, I'm gonna say this. Even though I'm a former law enforcement officer, I feel like everybody deserve a second chance.
Mm.
If they've served their time and they did what they were supposed to do, it's not our place to judge. But you just got to be careful. Like I said, if the person don't respect their mother, don't respect women, they're selfish. They don't ask you how you feel, what you want to do. And if he's not taking care of his own kids, if he have one, two, or three, if he can't take care of his own kids, why would you go by? And I knew no accidents happen, but why would you go have two and three kids by him? Feeling like some women have also felt in the past. I've heard, well, I got these kids. He ain't going nowhere. That's not true. A man's gonna do what he wants to do.
Yeah, my daddy always told me you can never stop a man for cheating. You can slow him down, but you can't never stop them if they
Yep.
want to
And you
cheat.
say, "Oh, was it
Slow them down for a couple months.
I remember a story years ago. My grandmother, my grandfather, they're both deceased. My grandmother, she died in '97. Grandma was what, 80 something when she passed away. She had diabetes real bad too and had heart attacks and everything.
Mm,
But anyway, grandma never wore a pair of pants in her life. Grandma was part Indian too.
okay.
And more Indian. Her real name was Babe Corn.
Babe corn.
Babe Corn,
Oh
that
wow.
was her name.
Oh
She
wow.
changed it, it wind up being changed to Collins later when she got married, and she
Okay.
changed it to Rosetta,
Okay.
but I guess it was better than Babe. She didn't like being called Babe,
Hey
and that
babe.
was her name. But she never wore a pair of pants, and I always grandma always stayed home because my grandmother had like what 14, 15 kids. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this was back in the day where you had a football team and a basketball team and everything
Right.
else. But I used to always say, "Oh, grandpa," da, da, da. And I say, "Oh, I want a bunch of kids, but I don't want that many. I want that house. I want to be, but I wanted a job. I wanted to learn how to do stuff." But she taught us everything. But one thing, when I was praising my grandfather one time, and finally when I got older, she told me, she said, "No." And this is the funny story. She was like, "No," she said, "we've had our problems, but we worked through them.
Mm-hmm.
But," she said, "never let a man hit you, because if he hit you once, he's going to hit you again."
Right.
I said, "Well, grandpa would never do that." And I used to praise my grandpa. And finally, my grandmother told me one day, she said, "No, I had to show your grandpa that you don't put your hands on me." And I said, "What do you mean?" She had apparently something had happened, and she didn't say anything then or do anything then. But she said when they went to bed that night, grandma had a 5-shot. Grandma could shoot too.
Mm.
And 5-shot was up under her pillow.
Mm.
And so grandpa was laying in the bed, and I was told by my grandma that she waited till he got good to sleep. And then she woke him up, and she had him by the neck, and she had her gun out. And she said, "I'm going to tell you this once, and I'm not going to tell you again.
Mm.
Don't you ever put your hands on me again." And she said from that day on, grandpa never put his hands on her
I
again.
bet he did not. Somebody wake you up with a damn gun upside your damn
Right.
head. You ain't gonna never touch him again either.
And then there was another quick one I'll tell you guys real quick. Now, this was sad because she did get arrested. There was My grandmother had a bunch of elderly friends that would come down when we were little. And I remember a lady coming down there and the police coming and everything. Can't remember the lady's name, but my grandma lived on the corner of Avenue and Witherby.
Okay.
And you go up Avenue A, and I think it's Newell that crossed somewhere up in there. The lady stayed up there, and they all were walk to each other because they didn't drive.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, she came. She was hysterical, and the police came. The lady came home and caught her husband and a man in the bed. Well, you
Mm.
know that old Medea joke where Medea had some oatmeal. I think it
Hot
was
grits.
yeah, grits. Well, she took oatmeal, and I guess she put syrup or something in it to make it stick,
Uh-huh. And
and she
stuck to
threw
his
it.
ass and
Yeah,
threw it on him
they
while it
they
was
were
hot.
going at it so tough they didn't know she was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
She came back, and she went there and threw it on
Mm.
them. So of course she got in trouble for it.
Mm.
But people got to be careful nowadays because I'm not gonna say they're crazy, but sometimes you push and push and push a person where they can't take it anymore.
Yep. And
And
then they snap.
nowadays, yeah, and see, nowadays it's dangerous because all these weapons are out here and these domestic violence situation. People don't want to lose you, so they rather kill you. I've heard people say the reason why in court, the reason why they did it was because um, I didn't want nobody else to have her.
That's so crazy.
So we just got to be careful who we pick to choose to live with and
Right.
be in a relationship with, because you don't have to live with them.
Definitely.
They
Right.
could be living in their own house and come and do something.
Right. So,
Winters, can you see the chat?
oh yes, I forgot.
Can you
Yeah.
see Gladys Williamson? Do you know who that is?
Yes, I know Miss Gladys.
Okay, she wrote on here, if you want to know how a man is going to treat you, look how he treats his mother.
Yep, that's
Yep.
the
And
same
I
thing.
do believe that, but unfortunate for me, God has always given me someone who wasn't raised by their mother. So I really never had a relationship with a guy that was raised by his mom.
Mm.
Both my ex-husbands were pretty much raised by the paternal side. Even my current friend. Uh, so not saying the mothers were horrible, but they were. And it's funny because my whole entire life, either their mother was deceased or they weren't raised by their mother. And I asked God, why is it that I meet and I find myself being a nurturer? And I was like, I can't be no one's mother. I can only be my children.
Right. Don't you hate that? I'm like, wait a minute. These are too many roles you want me to
But
play.
that's what I've always, and I say, why? But that is true. It's unfortunate that their experience, not all of them, their experiences with their mother weren't the best, but their experiences with their father were great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another thing too, it's not like I mentioned before. It's not like it used to be. Before we had two role models in the home, moms and dads raising the kids. I wish we could go back to that if we could. But there's a lot of single parents. There's a lot of single dads raised. I know a lot of single dads
I do
that have
too.
did an excellent job to have custody of the kids. My brother, one of my little brothers, lost his wife, and he has four
Mm.
boys,
Wow.
and it's been hard for him and them. And my nephew is actually having his we're doing his open house next Sunday. So I'm like, I just watch back and I'm like, I pray for him because I get worried sometimes because I know it's hard. He's doing an excellent job. They had been together for years. And to see him go through that, but to see him, it made him stronger a little bit. He was already strong, but I see him, he's taking on mom and dad role, and it's softened him up a little bit, I feel, even though he wouldn't say that,
Mm-hmm.
because he's making sure them boys, he just went and got a second job to make sure them boys are taken care of, that he had everything he needed. And so I told him, look, we're going to do this open house. Nephew going to have his open house. It's going to be beautiful because
Right.
I do events and I have all the stuff anyway that's left.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and bought some more stuff. So
Oh,
he's going to have his beautiful Hawaiian beach theme open house
that's so
next
sweet.
Sunday. He wanted a beach theme for his friends and he wanted soul food. So we're going to do it.
See, you changed my whole perspective on cops. Because, like, normally, when cops, they've been in the forest and on the field for so long, they just emotionless. Like, you got this big, giant, caring
See, there's a
spirit.
say I should have been a police officer slash social worker
Mm-hmm.
because grandma always raised us where we got to help people, and I wish so much the time was like it used to be. I know times change, time's going to change, people are going to change, but that family and the friends having that, like I said, the picnic we're going to do on the last Saturday, August 31st, you know, I just want to bring everybody together. I want to have more of that, you
Right.
know. And they were like, "Hey, they shoot over here, da 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 da." And I'm like, "No, but you know something? I'm involving our nights out. We're involving law enforcement."
But
So
all of that, everything that you do for the community and like, your kind, loving spirit, helping the elderly, putting on these events, doing the cleanups, the beautifying, like how bad did it really hurt you to know that somebody was, that mad that they would burn down your campaign headquarters?
Oh
to be
Lord.
honest, the stuff, even though it cost me, I feel like God is always on my side, first of all, because that night I was in there around midnight and I was tired because I had did an event over at Mont Park and I wanted to get some paperwork done. And normally sometimes I'll stay in there to 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And the bewitching hour for the fires is always between 4 and 5:30.
Okay.
But sometimes I'll take a nap and you can't see inside. And I didn't always drive my car. So I could have been there to sleep. It bothered me, but I'm mature enough to know it was material things that could be replaced. But what hurt me, the part that hurt me I'm trying to rebuild a community. That little building has been there since I was a little girl. I'll be 58 on December 22nd. That building had been there. Everybody and their brother have went to pre-K kindergarten there.
You said September what?
December
Oh, okay. I thought you
22nd.
said September.
Oh no,
Okay.
it's December 22nd. I'm a
Okay.
Christmas baby. And my,
Okay.
my youngest little girl birthday is on Christmas Day.
Okay.
But
Oh,
that building was like a little historical building in the first ward. You know, the schools have been changed to churches. Um, but that building on that corner, we called it the little White House, and our goal was to build a little building like that as a resource center for the community.
Right.
But that was our start. That was the place I was meeting the residents at. We needed privacy to fill out their paperwork. Everybody don't want everybody to know what they're doing.
Right.
So some people don't want to come out in a group to get help. Or if they need to help with, for example, if some people didn't know that Department of Social Service, even though you're not, don't have a case, a monthly annual case with them where they pay your rent or whatever, um, if you have a shut off notice and you meet the income requirements and the other requirements, they will still pay your bills. So a lot of residents didn't know that. So we can meet up there with their laptop, submit the documents, make an account, and then they will put a hold if you have a consumer shut off notice, for instance, and water. If you send the bill, submit the bill, it's faster if you do it online. They will put a 10-day hold. I think it's a 10-day hold while they work the case. But even though you're working, you're in a situation, they will determine if they can still help you or not, even though you're not on assistance getting your rent paid and everything every month. You know, you just have to submit the documents. But some people are not computer savvy. So everybody need help sometime. So it's not going to take me 15, 30 minutes top. Hey, meet me up here and bring your laptop, bring your bills, you know, bring your ID, your proof of income you do have or whatever, and we could do it really quick.
Right.
You know, so
And I hate to cut you off,
Mary
but
Allen is giving love in the chat.
Oh, what'd she say?
She said it's always better to give than receive, and Rose has been given before running for first ward.
Oh yeah, she definitely has. Like that's one thing I've noticed about Miss Rose. Like when I first I think you first started watching the broadcast, then you showed up at council, and then that's when I first met her. Like she's been off and running since I met her.
But I wanted to help. I'm just, you know, I'm like, hey, you know, this is a strange part. A lot of new faces, people I met. But when I first came back, like I said, I looked at the city, I was kind of hurt, you know, because I'm like, it wasn't like this. What happened? And I started asking the questions from people. And like I said, when you talk to the seniors will tell you everything. And then you meet people, and then going down to the city council, and then talking to people in the neighborhood, is more people out there like me that want to help and feel the same way I do. So that's how I started working with everybody. And I did determine who to work with and who not to work with, because some people, like we said before, you got to just say, okay, step back. But then another thing too, I'm the type of person, just because you don't like this person, that don't mean I don't have to like this person. You know, you got to see your own judgment.
Right.
You know, that person haven't did anything to you, and then did you see that person do something to somebody else? I'm not the type of person you come and tell me, oh, I don't like Anna. I don't like Anna because whatever. I say, okay, well, that's between you and Anna. You know, she hasn't done anything to me, and until I do something to you
Oh, yeah. You
or
all right, baby?
somebody
Girl,
else,
that is Cosmo the cat. Everything down.
I said, I said, you know, I got to see it. And then in working with everybody, I learned who was trying to help, who had hidden agendas, who was just being mean to other people. You know, I'm just not like that. I'm just not. I just want everybody to get along and work together. But I'm mature enough to know sometimes maybe this is not the time. Not saying that these individuals are not going to get along later, but right now is not the time. Maybe we need a cooling off period. You know, some apologies need to be told. You know, everybody's an adult. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Right.
But you can't go around judging people because of somebody else, what somebody else said.
Absolutely.
You got to see it for yourself. And I have seen some of that.
That's good. I'm glad you have.
Now
Anna, you got some questions?
Yeah, I want to go into the chat because people been saying, and I don't want them to think this is recorded.
Okay.
So
We don't have our Mickey here with us.
I
Mickey just on
know.
that plane quick.
I know.
I'm trying to see. That's the. I didn't know if it. Does anyone in the chat before I start looking on the YouTube side have any questions for have any questions or any comments? You could put in the chat right now. I'm gonna try to go back and see. So we're not missing out on people talking because we're not being recorded. We are literally live.
Right. We are live. We are live.
It's always
Election day
give
is Tuesday. Don't forget to vote.
So I guess I'll go back, and it's Christine Leach has said, as a correction officer, I never stood there when wrong was being done to an inmate. Never, and I got flack for that. I just worked them. I didn't have to agree because we had the same uniform on.
Yes, that's true. And another thing I used to tell my officers when I trained them, and even back in the police academy, when they first come through, I would tell them that, a lot of the recruits were interested in knowing what the individual did, what was their charges. No, that's not good, because you're going to be in there and it's not good. You're going to be judgmental. So if you just happen to see the charge, that's one thing in corrections. But don't go looking up inmates just to see. You already know you're in a max facility or a minimum release facility or pre-release facility. Don't, especially in max. If it's a max facility where there's life prisoners, and then normally in some states there's life and there's a facility attached to it or a separate building where they house death row. You can go on the Otis system and look them up, the offender search system. But if you go in there saying, oh my God, this person raped 13 people, this person murdered this person, or this murder, two things that really bother other inmates and residents or citizens is seniors and children when you do stuff to them. And you never ever discuss other inmates, inmates' information with another inmate. And the officers really shouldn't be discussing it either, because if you're going to sit there and work an 8 or a 12-hour shift 5 days a week or 7 days a week, however many days you're working, that's going to be sitting here in your head. You're going to look at that individual in a different way. But the person has already been sentenced by the court, and they're going to have to answer to God. But you shouldn't be judgmental. You should be open-minded, neutral across the board. Do your job. That's what what your job was when you first took that position.
Right.
Because you went through a police academy. So that's something, you got to treat everybody fairly. And, God is looking at you too. If you go in there abusing prisoners just because they did, you in the wrong profession.
What? Oh, we got stuff on the screen now.
Yeah. Earlier Gladys had said, and it stood up, she had said, and I was happy for her transparency, because a lot of times we run from saying our truth. And she said, hold on, let me get to it. Ooh. I know y'all can see what okay, she said, the Lord opened my eyes and I found out who I was in Christ, and I've never been beat since. So there's a lot of us more here tonight that have dealt with domestic violence. That is not the topic tonight, but the reality is that comes, and going back to what I'm saying, especially women, because we're circling it back to women in politics, and the reason why I might be running for commissioner, Rose is running for council, is because we see the break in the families, but we also see, as people that want to get into the realms of making decisions, that a lot of it, the government plays a role, and they don't take care of things that they could. And people are suffering in their home, and mental health is at a high capacity of dysfunction in our households.
Drugs.
Right. Yeah. And an overabundance of child welfare cases have went up, since the whole pandemic area.
And another thing too, I just don't want to say is men being abused. It's women abusing men. I gotta say that. It's not just some men, they just take it and they take it. And some men will finally pop. And then there's some women that will keep messing with a person because maybe he said something like, well, I'm not gonna put my hands on you. Well, she know now you ain't gonna put your hands on her. So then she'll keep doing it. I don't know if you guys remember grandma, and we probably all have one in our house. I know I have a few. Those big cast iron skillets. A woman cracked the guy's skull open with one of those skillets.
I'm laughing because of what you said, but that is not funny.
that cook them cornbread skillets, the big thick
Yeah, I
ones that
know them.
don't break,
Yeah,
those.
the one you heat up to
That,
dry.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was bad. So it's not just men abusing women, it's women abusing men. And then when we talk about domestic violence, it's not just men and women in a relationship. It could be the child or juvenile against their parents, or their grandparents. So we talk about domestic violence. There's some other situations too where the grandma's scared or the parent is scared. There's a lot of teenagers that are doing drugs, selling drugs, or not a lot, I'll say some, but they have gotten so out of control that, for example, in school right now, that was one of the topics. The parent, and I was trying to explain, and they got upset with me. You got to understand, the court system can only do so much. The parents can only do so much. They wanted to charge this parent, and I didn't agree with it because this teenager was 16 or 17, and he was attacking the mother, and he wasn't going to school. The mother was trying to make him go to school, but they were trying to charge the mother.
But
So I just didn't
like
feel it was
here in
fair.
Flint, a lot of the gang activity and the
Yes.
violence that's picked up are being done by young adults between the ages of 12 and 18.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and a lot we see, just keeping it real, is on the north end of Flint.
Right.
So, as first ward councilwoman, have you thought about like something that you would try to implement to help curb the violence? I know there is
Yes.
no answer, but have you thought about like what could I
There's a
do?
there's a few things we can do. One, and then I'm thinking about doing this myself, as far as actually asking, we need some place. The Hassel bring the senior citizen is there, but I would like another place, some type of, it has to be in the first ward. I mean, if there's I was at the family fun day over with St. Mark's and the Christian Center today.
Mm-hmm.
The churches will sometimes, and I'm going to ask them if they'll let me do it. If I can actually hold a program there for youth, we need to teach them how to utilize their time. We need to show them there's other things to do with their time than sitting out here hanging out with Johnny or whoever that's doing something. They're seeing whatever they're seeing at home. They don't have an outlet.
Right.
And then also bringing law enforcement. A lot of youth have a bad opinion, excuse me, and with law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And all officers aren't bad. We got some bad ones. I'm not going to
Right.
say, I'm not talking about Flint,
Right.
across the United States.
I
There's
absolutely
some
agree.
bad officers out there, but there's some good officers out there that want to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if we bring law enforcement into it, they don't always have to be in uniform. We could just let them know, hey, this is Officer so and so from Genesee County Sheriff Department or Flint PD or
Mm-hmm.
state police or whatever it may be. But we
Mm-hmm.
need to teach them how to utilize their time. But we also need to get the funding so we can. And I'm going to agree with candidate Carol McIntosh on this. We do need another. We need to redo the gang task force. Our police department is already short staffed, but we need someone to deal with juveniles specifically. The older kids, you could charge them as an adult or a juvenile, but we need that juvenile unit
Mm-hmm.
to address the gang members for these young kids. That's 12. It's too many shootings that's going on.
Right.
There's too many young lives are taking place. When I take it, make you scared to even look at the news because every day there's a shooting. The
Right.
shootings are not down in the city of Flint. It seems like it's getting worse. She didn't text them to me, but when I was at the church, a lady came up to me and she said, I need your help. And I said, what's going on? She said she gave me an address. And the strange part about it, I already knew about the house. I had taken care of some issues there, but I didn't know this one particular individual came back. She showed me pictures of how they came. They were trying to shoot up the house next door,
Mm-hmm.
but they shot up her house. They have like 3 little kids.
Damn.
Her husband got grazed by the bullet,
Mm.
but they shot up the baby where the baby's bed was at. The bullets were all through the bed. It was like that, maybe that much space. The bullets was right there where they hit the baby.
Oh my
And they've
God.
not only shot their house up once, but twice. And it's an ongoing investigation, but they're short staffed. When she called 911 and she's talked to a detective and trying to do something about it, the officer did go make sure the husband was okay. He was taken to the hospital and treated. And the kids, she's scared to even be at the house. She doesn't even want to, they can't move. They have no place to go. But they have bullet holes that are still all in their house.
And the
In
people are
first ward.
they got the wrong house,
They weren't trying to shoot up their house.
Okay.
They were trying to shoot up the house next door because it
Mm.
was a drug house. Well, it still is a drug house. And Flint police do know about it and they are trying to work on it. But Flint police need help. They need more funding to hire more officers and more training. And we do need that juvenile unit. I feel like we need a well organized juvenile unit because we have a gang officers that work as far as the gangs, but it's not enough employees, officers. So we need to help the police. It's not always beat the police up, but we do need some new organization. That chart needs to be changed.
Right.
So we need to take those senior officers, lieutenants, and sergeants that are well trained because some of those officers have been in Flint forever.
Right.
They have the knowledge. I said it before when I was on the show. Flint is the perfect place for a learning opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to advance quick, if you really want to learn and you have a true heart for being in law enforcement, Flint would be the perfect place to come to.
So
And Genesee County Sheriff Department. Because if you go to Genesee County, you're going to be cross-trained. You can get medic training. And I was even told that the military comes to Flint, Genesee County Sheriff Department, to train with them because they have some excellent medics there.
Oh, dang. Me Freak said he was abused by his ex. She even burned down his house. Damn.
I was going to say, I had a vision, and I don't talk about it here because, it's Sister Circle, but it's just somehow the conversation is going. And so Wyntis, I have a girlfriend who is from Detroit, Michigan. She came to D.C., but prior to coming to Detroit, she ran a shelter for women and children called Helping and Uniting Women and Children in Detroit, Michigan. And when I met her, didn't know that about her, but it was something about her and two other girlfriends of mine. They all shared a certain date that they went to the cemetery. And I was like, why has God put these three women around me? One of them, their daughter was domestic violence killed in Detroit. The other one, her son was killed. The police chased, boy was 17, got into a car and the police chased him and crashed. And then the other one was at Morehouse and he was killed hanging out, came to visit his mom for the weekend, and he was killed. So all of them, March 15th is the date. Make a long story. The spelling of the names is Randall, Anthony, and Michelle, what spells RAM, raising and aligning men. And so this transitional house that I want to do, which is what she said she used to do, and I found out after the vision came to me. And so while I'm following Flint, I'm looking at property in Flint because it's very hard here in D.C. to actually start a men's transitional house. Women are always housed with their children. But if you look at the numbers of men, literally, I have the stats in DC. I meet with men and children all the time. And this is my true vision. And I don't talk about it here on Sister Circle. I've been looking at Flint, all that property there. How can I turn one of those buildings? Go ahead, get it. And turn it into a Ram house for raising and aligning men, because there's a lot of children that are in the system and sometimes the mother's not there. And there's some fathers, if they got resources, they can get custody of those kids. And that has been my vision from day one. So when I think about us talking about this domestic violence, it's just period. The community in Flint, there's a lot you can do in Flint. But it's just, we got to get the right people in the office. That's and true. I thank you, Rose, for running for Ward 1. And you already know I don't live there, but if I was there, you already know I will vote for you because I know that you're about building new community.
There is some facilities, old schools. I wish we could take, I can't remember what state it was.
Apartment units.
Yeah. And what it would be, we would help. It would be an organization, a 501c3. And what we would do was make it units, little mini units for the families, just some place to stay.
Like little studio apartments.
Right. The whole family could stay. We could have bunk beds in there. It would help the mom and dad. It could be a family or a single mom, a single dad, or a family. Right. They help them get on their feet. It's just a place for them to sleep because a lot of the shelters are closed. A lot of the people are scared to sleep in the shelters. So if there was some place just to help them get a job, help them get on their feet, help them get a home, get their deposits for utility, just to help them get on their feet. There was a young lady that called me recently, but it was too late. There was a home that was condemned by the city of Flint. She had custody of her grandson, and she had two children, and they were being evicted. But this young lady, it was hard to kind of help her because she had to be out by that weekend.
Mhm.
And she was able to scrape up enough money to put her items, some of her items, that most important items, in storage and some of the furniture. And she wind up going to stay with a family member. But I was like, man, just like what Anna said, because there was a state that had like those little studio apartments.
Mhm.
The individuals just need a place to sleep, to get save up some money. You would, take them to the bank
Right.
and make them sign an agreement. They, I don't know how we could do that part, but because it's their money, but they have to save up money. Then a place comes available. We would look for a place, and then that way they can move into the place and teach them skills,
Right.
cooking skills, budgeting skills, whatever skills they were lacking. We could teach
Have
classes.
those class offer.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like when
parenting skills.
I seen Aunt Eartha Logan was talking about Merle Elementary School,
Yes.
um, to renovate that on the north end for youth, but even to have a school where you could build like these mini apartments for the family and
We have
have
Dewey.
classes and
I don't know
stuff.
what the condition is, but Dewey School. Then there's Roy Wilkins on Martin Luther King. you know, and there's a church for sale across the street. I seen that the other day. I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, this could be a community center. We got a
Right.
church over here because I want the Lord involved in it.
Mhm.
Oh,
It would be a Christian church. Well, it doesn't have to be just Christian. It could be Baptist, Catholic. Everybody from all nationalities can come in there
Mhm.
that way and speak, and everybody that's in there could feel comfortable with their, just hearing the service, and then they'll learn more about other people's
Mhm.
yeah.
religions also.
And
So
you got to see if like and see like what you can do to get some more like homes. They could. It's a
right,
lot of like you said, people on a block. It's just one house. Like
yeah.
why not build some single family homes over in the first ward?
Well, you just brought that up. I just spoke with a builder, and we're supposed to be meeting next week, because what I would like to do, we have all these vacant lots.
Mhm.
If we could get the grant funding to build so many houses, and we'll help the individual, the family, get the house. They're going to be 3 bedroom, two full bath with a basement, 2 car garage, and a fenced in backyard. And I'm calling it rebuilding the block. But we help the family get in the home. If you're renting, maybe the landlord is willing to sell the home. There's some people there's a few homes that I know of. The owners actually passed away, and the family members have the house, and the family members won't do any repairs to the house.
Mhm.
So, this one perfect example, this one lady has been in this house for going on almost 25 years. She was in there before that because she was in there, but the people have been deceased for over 20 years. And the family members have the house, but they don't do anything to it. So I was like, don't you want to own your own home? She said, what do I look like buying a house now? She said, I just want this house fixed. So I told her, we couldn't repair the home because she doesn't own the home,
Mhm.
and I guess there's some paperwork issues or whatever. So I called the owner up. She let me speak to the owner, and I said, I know you own the home, but she's been here forever. Would you work with us if you bought the paint and we did the work, painting the outside, redoing the yard, and, making some repairs inside, would you allow us to do that? We'll be licensed individuals because I've been trying to talk to contractors and do barters.
Mhm.
Hey, if I can get you 5 jobs, would you go help fix this person's, air conditioner, replace this person's air conditioner? You're making the money,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And some of the contractors like, what are you trying to do? And I said, well, they need help, but they don't have the money. So if we do a barter, I even told him, I do events. You got any kids? You want a kid party for free? You just pay for the
Right.
food.
Right.
And then one person had a plan. I've did it before. I'm like, hey, I'll give you a discount, or I'll do certain things certain parts for free,
Mhm.
centerpieces or whatever. You go look at her furnace, something's wrong with it.
Right.
And they were like,
Trade some deals.
yeah.
Right.
So they were
Uh,
like,
Rose, oh man,
oh,
I
no.
can see we on the same accord because I'm always like, I translate for you. If you got me on this, I'll translate for you.
Right. I'll
I'll
help
write
you
this
out.
up for
Oh,
you.
I've done that. I'll go walk over to a neighbor or certain people and say, "Hey, I need Daniel and Anna." Daniel doesn't speak a lot of English, but Anna does.
Mhm.
And I'll ask Anna. Anna, well, her name is Anna too. As a matter of fact,
It's
it's
Anna.
Anna. I'm sorry,
Anna.
Anna. Well, her name
Anna.
is Anna. She said, but Anna, she'll come and she translates. She's good at it. So hey, we just like I said, it's so much that need to be done. But my thing is, if we get a good plan, and like I said, make that 5-year plan, and if the city or certain people won't work with us, that doesn't mean it can't be done. We could work with the organizations.
Right.
We could work with outside help. We could go out of state. I'll be taking 2 trips out of state soon at my own expense. Why? Because, well, actually 3, but my own expense because I seen something they were doing. Somebody sent me, and I'm like, man, we could do that in the first ward.
Right.
But guess what? God forbid I don't get elected. I'm still
We
okay. Well, I'm gonna do it anyway
right.
because it's something we can use, to help the first ward. And then, like I said, my goal is to make the first ward a model, and then we can get the other council people to work with us. Come to the meetings. We sit at the table, a round table, and we just figure out what needs to be done.
Rose, we could go further than that. You could be the mayor of Flint.
Oh shoot.
Baby steps. Baby
Steps.
Hey,
Right.
baby steps. I gotta show people what I can do, but that don't mean that I can't do it.
That's right. But as we close out, and I'm gonna let Anna close us out tonight after you, Miss Rose, I do want to say thank you
You're
for
welcome.
coming on and being our guest tonight on Sister Circle. I hope you are victorious Tuesday. Don't forget to vote Rosemary Morrow.
And early voting has started, so you guys can go even Sunday.
Yes, and vote.
Please call your family and friends that somebody knows somebody that live in the first ward. If we want change, please call them. We need change. Some people are working, but there's a lot that's not, and there's a lot to be done. So we need to get started. We don't have to wait until November to see who wins the seat. We can start now like we've been doing. We could do more. We just got to work together.
Absolutely right. All right, Anna, take us on home.
Well, 2 things. Prayers. I want to say prayers real quick. Earlier, I didn't say anything. I let my daughter go on a trip earlier today, and she called me, and there was 2 buses. She's on her way to Massanutten, and the bus with the kids in front of her flipped.
Oh no!
God. So she witnessed her friends get hurt.
Oh,
I think when you have great people in your circle, you can call, because most of the time they don't tell you anything. That's my daughter texting me with pictures of the accident. But I was able to know that she is okay. I was about to get in this car and go drive 2 hours to go get her. She chose to stay, but they chose to go get some of the kids and bring them back. The kids didn't need to go to the hospital. It was a person speeding. So what I'm saying to y'all is today, slow down. When you leave and you go home tonight, just slow down. Because right there in Flint, you got idiots doing donuts in the middle of the street. And they can collect as many cars as they want. You still got people to slow down. Life is short.
Right.
And then the other thing I wanted to say is I don't know if we're going to have a Clubhouse, because I know that y'all are going to be going out in the community, going live. You already know, hit me up, because I can open up the room at any time. I can open up at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever. It doesn't have to open up at 7.
Okay.
But I'm happy to be a part of Sister Circle, and thank you tonight for everyone that joined us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, but remember, vote for action and not reaction. And if you listen to me, you will be voting for Rose Morrow. Peace.
Thank you.
Peace out. Have a good one.
Thank you.